Okay, we're live. Let me fix my hair. We're live. So the game France-Iraq was stopped after the first half because of the thunder in Philadelphia where they're playing. From what I understand, beautiful stadium, by the way. They showed the view and it was so beautiful. And you know what? They started and Mbappe scored after 10 minutes of a restart. So I'm going to finish this game first and then I'm going to jump to Norway because I started watching Norway already, but not much is happening, truth be told. So let's actually check Norway Senegal here. And I'm going to watch France and Iraq. Wait. Yeah. All right. So I think I've seen the first goal that Mbappe scored. It was pretty cool goal. Like his way, I don't know, of striking the ball like with the inside of his foot, and it was a good one. And no curl, I think, was on that ball. It was just like a bullet or something. No spin, no curl, nothing. Just dead ball hitting like the far post. I mean, hitting the net, far post. Yeah, and Norway, Senegal. I haven't seen anything. I mean, haven't seen any goals. Definitely, just some. Yeah, and I think Norway already they had a substitution because of the injury. Someone was subbed off already. If we check lineups, there you go. Ryerson was subbed off, and yeah. Well, I know that last AFCON, Senegal basically won the competition, but then the trophy was taken from them and given to Morocco. They were other finalists, but I have no idea why it happened. Oh, but basically for me, Senegal are like champions of Africa, and they're playing Norway. So it's interesting how it's going to turn out. And France, I mean, we know France. Favorites probably on this tournament. I mean, great attack, great. Oh, Dembele with the banger. 3-0. Yeah, it's just like the movement with the ball, the sharpness, the urgency. I mean, not the urgency necessarily in this game, but the sharpness of movement, and it has their players. They have the edge or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it's in the movement. You can just see that they're gifted players for sure. Great footballers in France. Undeniable, objectively speaking. Yeah, so here we're waiting for a goal in this game. Let's open this. It's a great strike. Elise with assist. Dembele inside of the foot again also. Far post. Hit the net. I mean, Iraq, yeah. I think I just watched like a podcast. Was it like it was Manchester United podcast with this journalist. What's the name of this? Something about details. like Devil in Details, something, something. I don't remember, unfortunately. But anyway, the guest of the podcast, it was Zidane Iqbal, who was, who is an academy uh, graduate of Manchester United, and he played a little bit. I think he tested waters with the first team, but he never actually settled there, and he was moved on. I think right now he's playing somewhere. Is it in Netherlands or something? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, he was talking about his life and career. He had a lot of injuries, but he's playing Iraq. He's playing for Iraq. And yeah, so his dad is Pakistani, I think, and his mom is Iraqi. And yeah, so there he's playing for Iraq, and I guess he's there like, I don't know. I don't want to say main star or like let's just say he's the player that I know um, something about, for sure. Yeah, I don't think anyone expected. Dembele Elise subbed off for France and Douye and Turk. Can you imagine, like, you can sub off, if you sub in off Dembele and Elise, and the players who are replacing them are Turkey and Douye. The amount of quality in France team, it's insane, I'm telling you. There's so many players, so many good players. It's insane. Like they're speaking that they're saying that England has quality also in their team, but it's not even like, especially with this selection that Tuchel made, it's not even close. England, it's like attack. Okay, they have Kane, but who else? Like Ivan Tony, Watkins, right? He's also there. I mean, I don't know about this, but France is like all players are just stars basically on all positions. Yeah. It's interesting what Portugal is going to do also, because everyone was saying that, their midfield, Portugal's midfield is insane, but they couldn't do anything, and they're playing national team. They're playing Uzbekistan later today. In the evening. And they need to show something. They need to show something. They need to win, and they need to score some goals, because it just doesn't make any sense. Everything they were talking about after the draw against Congo, it was just slant. People were trying to defend Ronaldo, and they gotta, like, Portugal just gotta move on. Meaning, like, yeah, Ronaldo is still he's a superstar of world football. He's still playing, but you need to change your focus. You don't need to focus on Ronaldo, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, especially also starting Ronaldo, it doesn't make any sense, because basically he's too slow, and he's not able to track back, because basically if you just playing with Ronaldo as a nine, where he's playing usually, when, let's say, the attack finished for Portugal and they had to go back and defend, he's just stays basically there. Like, he's not going back to defend, because he cannot run anymore. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I was listening to Talk Sport today, and people were just, I mean, it's just common sense. It's not even like an insight or a, like a like opinion of like a specialist or like tactician or some football, like, I don't know, person who's super savvy and knowledgeable in football. Is like common sense. Like, if he's slow, bring him on later in the game, like in the second half when it's like there are still a half an hour, 20 minutes to go. Bring him on. His quality, obviously, right? Experience is crazy also. If he has a chance, he will score it. Higher chance for him to start the game fresh, 20 minutes to go, and the defenders will be already knackered. So he has more chances actually to score. Yeah, the difference in quality between France and Iraq, it's just staggering, honestly, because they just serve the corner and the player, like the way he strike the straw, the way he hit the ball, it was like night and day. So yeah, I think teams have chances. Even Iraq probably has chances against France, but the point is that you have to take those chances, and I don't think they're able to do that. So just passing the ball. Iraq is passing the ball in the middle of the park. Let's get back to our. Oops. I wanted to watch that show later. Okay, so what's happening? No goals in Norway Senegal game, and here we have Iraq on the attack, right hand side. They are attacking. The players are trying to find an opening. Okay, in the box, player in the box, and the cross. It was so bad. Like, there were three players, and the ball missed all of them. Ah, Iraqi player was tackling a French player, and he, I think, got injured or something. Oh, they were very close right now. Iraq very close to a goal, but just wide. Just wide. It was a good attack. You see, they have chances, but like, you got to take those chances. Like, that's the hardest part, because technically, of course, Iraq, they are not on the level, so they cannot waste those chances. But at the same time, maybe sometimes it's difficult for them to take them, to convert, because of the lack of, skill. Yeah. Okay, so Portugal's playing Uzbekistan, and then Portugal is playing Colombia. They better turn up for Colombia, because we already watched one team. I mean, Turkey. They're left the tournament. That's it. They're playing, of course, third game, but that's it. They're out already. So it's so frustrating. I was talking about it yesterday, I think. But yeah, that stream, it's like half of that stream, which was before, unfortunately, I started watching highlights. I was talking about it, that Arda, Cannon, and they couldn't do anything when they attack. They couldn't score anything, assist anyone, and it was so frustrating. I think no one expected Turkey to be out of the tournament already after two games. So Portugal, obviously, they have a draw, so they have a point. But they better start winning, because you know what? They have potential, but they got to do something with it. Like, they better start playing football. They better wake up and smell the coffee. Yeah. You can see that the pitch is like filled with water. They basically, it was an announcement. They asked fans to leave the stadium because it was thunder and lightning, probably. Yeah, and the game stopped for like 3 hours, I think, or something like this, because basically I stopped watching it and I was started doing something else. And then when I finished my stuff, I checked the clock. I checked YouTube. I saw that people are doing watchalongs for Norway, Senegal, and I was like, okay. And then I turned on my stream, like the broadcast. I mean, like the football, and I saw that two events are live. And I was like, what's the other event? And it was France Iraq. So, and I was like, oh, damn. So they finally restarted. So I clicked on it, obviously, and I saw that they're about to start. So basically the two games are right now at the same time, which is like first time in this tournament. But last games in the group, I think all of them will start at the same time. So you'll have to choose. I mean, obviously you can watch both on two screens, but yeah. Mbappe with penalty. No? Okay. He wanted a penalty. It looked a little bit like penalty, but yeah. France scored enough goals already. Like they have three. It's like Iraq will not equalize. So they have nothing to worry about. But Mbappe wanted to score another one. He wanted a hat trick, I believe, because he scored two already, and then we had Dembele scoring the third one. Yeah, me probably touching the microphone, it will not help the sound quality, but oh, Mbappe would volley, sort of. But yeah, it was wide. No, it was not a penalty. Good job, referee. Good job, referee, because it was not a penalty. Yeah, sometimes when referees when they actually do their job properly, it's yeah, they deserve a lot of respect, because imagine like in real time making that call, you know, without delay, and being like being able to just sort of defend your decision, if that makes sense. Because the players usually, like right now, nothing is at stake because France is already, they won the game. But imagine in a different game where a player like Mbappe is like falling down in the box of opposition and he's like calling for a penalty, like looking at referee. Imagine in this situation, like when you have to make a decision, and let's say you saw with your eyes, like for sure it was not a pen, it was not a foul. So you just like tell Mbappe to get up, and then like the players storm you and like try to pressure you into giving this penalty. That's crazy job if you think about it. Barcola, who was that? You're trying to set up Mbappe for a hat trick, from what I understand by now. No. So it's some players, to be honest, I don't know their names. France, I mean, was an offside. That's a weird offside. Okay, so they're bringing on more players. Gusto from Chelsea, I think. Akliuche. I have no idea where this player is playing. Obviously somewhere in Europe, but I have no idea. So Barcola is going. He's finishing the game, and Kunde. Barcola and Kunde off, and Gusto and Akliuche, he's on. I should know this player probably, but you know what? I think maybe someone will tell me who that player is. Maybe, just maybe, maybe not. Hair flick. I'm doing hair flicks like Jokeres yesterday. Shocking performance from Sweden yesterday, right? They were playing Netherlands. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? Time flies. I'm not really sure. Day before yesterday, I think it was. But yeah, shocking. It was so poor from Sweden. Elanga only scored one goal. Ex-Man United player. Newcastle player right now. Good job. Was a good goal, but it didn't mean anything at that point already. But I'm sure for him it was nice to score a goal, you know. So your name is forever written in a World Cup sort of history. So yeah. So after the storm finished and they were about to restart the game, they showed this drone like shot of a stadium, and you know it was amazing. Like, so I think I trashed already some stadiums, and I was complaining about this like Los Angeles stadium, SoFi Stadium, because of the screen, and it casted a shadow on the pitch, and it looked kind of like meh. But obviously, this is the issue only during daytime, because obviously when it's like then the playing under the lights, the pitch looks probably much better. But this stadium is different. This stadium, it has no roof and no screen, obviously. And to be honest, it's not like a bowl. The stands are not connected. Like, it's not a circle shape, but still, it looks very nice. This stadium, I gotta tell you, it looks really good. I'm pretty sure this is Eagles probably stadium, right? With NFL, this team is playing. It's Philadelphia Eagles, from if I'm not mistaken, and they're playing in Philadelphia. I bet it's the same stadium. What else? And there was another stadium also. Like, I didn't like it at all. It looked like a baseball stadium or something. Like, it had gaps between stands. Can you imagine it? And it looked so bad. Like, so yeah. In Mexico, they have amazing stadiums. Like, all the stadiums that they showed in Mexico, they were so amazing, like beautiful, and like this classics, you know, football stadium that is like looks like a ball, and all stands are like going like in this circle, connected. I like these stadiums, but it's like modern. Maybe it's like, how to say, remodeled, or I don't want to say refurbished. What that word? Reconstructed, renovated, but maybe it's just a new stadium. And talking about stadiums, also Manchester United secured the land to start building a stadium. And they had an issue because like some chunk of land that they wanted to buy, it was like in dispute, and something like it wasn't. There was like some kind of issue there, and they needed to talk to mayor of Manchester or something like this. So anyway, there was an issue there, but now it seems like there is no issue anymore, and they just already bought that land, and they can start like, you know, building a stadium. But from what I understand, like, I don't know, there was mixed. I read like maybe a couple of days ago some kind of mixed information. Norway scored a goal. Who scored? Let's see. Okay, all images are credited, you see, so I'm no copyright strikes, no more, please. Who scored the goal? Where to see that? Oh, wait, we can see on this. No? It's supposed to show you who scored it. Oh, that guy who was subbed on, actually, instead of Ryerson. That's why he didn't show. Like, there you go. This guy scored. Good job. Right back apparently scored a goal. Good job. Yeah. Yeah, from this squad like Norway, I think I only know like four players because they're in Premier League. I mean, Sorlot, obviously Atletico Madrid, Arsenal, City, Sander Berge. He was playing also in England, but I don't remember which team he was playing for. And here we have some players also like I mean all are, to be honest, famous players here in Senegal. But I just know that Nicholas Jackson is in Bayern, I think, right? He used to be at Chelsea. Mane obviously in Saudi. Um the youth, I think it's West Ham, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Everton, I'm not really sure, but he's playing in England for sure. And then we have another player from, I think this one plays in, oh no, don't quote me on that. Iliman Njai, of course, Everton. It's a transfer, kind of transfer target of Manchester United, this guy. Iliman Jaya. He's a winger. Pretty impressive, to be honest with you. Pretty impressive. Watched his highlights. Very direct, very like explosive, and like just scores goals like top beans, top beans. And the power on that strike, it's also impressive. Okay, Mbappe is trying to go for the third one. Oh my goodness, that was so wide. But the pace, like the explosiveness of Mbappe and his speed is impressive, I gotta tell you. But he reminds me of Cristiano Ronaldo because there was no dribble. He just like, he just like kicked the ball in front of him, and because of his pace, he was able to, chase it, and that's it. Mbappe is subbed off. No hat trick for him today. So they're showing his goals that he scored outside of the box, left foot, inside of the foot, far corner. Good strike. And the second one, it's like middle of the box, cross. No one is. Dembele with assist. No one is holding Mbappe. He's wide open in the center of the box. That's a question mark for defenders. And he just converted with the right foot, I think. Maybe with the left also. Mbappe is a left-footed player or what? I'm pretty sure he can play with both feet. But anyway, his strength is his speed, like his pace. I don't think like he will be a great player when he's gonna age, when he's gonna lose his speed. I'm not quite sure that he can do something like this. Messi, can you imagine? Argentina, Austria, he scored 2 goals. So first game he scored 3. This game he scored 2, and Argentina won 2-0, I think. It's crazy. The guy is 43 years old, scoring goals at World Cup. But you gotta admit, like he probably already knows this climate, like American climate, and he knows how to. He's adapted to this to stadiums. He's adapted to the country, to the climate, to the everything, atmosphere. So for him, it's like it's not new. Argentina, Austria. Let's see. Yep, there you go. This is crazy. 2 goals for Messi. It's frustrating because the guy's like playing already like forever. He's playing for 20 years. More than 20 years he's playing football on a higher level, on the highest level. He keeps on scoring actually goals. That's what real skill means. That's it. The end of the game, France, Iraq. Congrats to France. Iraq, fair play. But guys, there was nothing for you in this game, unfortunately. France are just too good. and the difference was insane in quality. So yeah, I was talking about Messi. So you see, Messi is like 43 and he's still scoring goals, which means basically that he's super duper skillful, and his strength is his mind, his and his like technique and his striking, like passing, vision, everything. But pace. At some point, he was like pretty like straightforward, not straightforward, but he was using his speed, I would say, a little bit. But it's his dribbling. It's how he dribbles with the ball, how he's like gliding with the ball. Of course, it was more sharp and like faster, more aggressive when he was younger. But right now, who cares? He's still able to score goals and like dribble and do all this stuff. So it's not like, he missed. I mean, he missed some. He missed maybe something, but in general, he's a just great player. Period. You cannot just watch him and say that he's struggling at 43 years old. So yeah, I don't want to compare, but obviously, I think I think it makes sense already that it's obvious that I was talking about Ronaldo and then I started talking about Messi, which is crazy because I remember like how many, like 10 years ago, it was like, the topic, it was like Messi versus Ronaldo. And here we are like 10 years later. Like, I think the people who wanted answers or something, they got them. You know what? Messi still scoring goals and Ronaldo is like, like a burden to his team low key. No one wants to talk about that. But he's like not really helping them, if we're being honest. Okay, Norway, Senegal. We back. It's halftime there. One goal scored. Let's hope Senegal can do something in the second half because Norway, they shouldn't be winning against Senegal. I'm sorry, but they have no business winning there. They have some quality, obviously. But in my opinion, no way Norway. In my opinion, no way Norway are better than Morocco, and Senegal were better than Morocco. So it's like that logic, like when you are like a schoolboy, you arguing. This is a pretty stadium, also. Like, what is that? What's that stadium they're playing at? They're playing at. Okay, I don't speak French, so the interview with Senegalese player, it will not tell me anything. So yeah, it's like when you're a schoolboy and you're arguing about stuff and you're just making those logical, like, kind of like this logical, it's not a schedule, but like not a fixture, but I don't know how to say. It's like those parallels, like it's like, oh, so this team beat this team, it means this team will beat this, so based on this. So it's like, but yeah, it's like Senegal, they gotta turn up, they gotta score a goal. Oh, let's see who's playing. I think he's playing for West Ham. Or am I tripping? Oh, no, 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 wait a second. Something's like, I don't know why, but it's, yeah, look at this. I know ball. This is a West Ham player. Left back. Yeah, Manchester was also linked. Manchester United was linked to this player kind of a little bit. But to be honest, Manchester United was linked to a lot of West Ham players just because West Ham are relegated. and they need to sell players. A lot of transfer talk about that. Like today, I woke up to the news, like not news actually, because nothing happened. It was just speculation, but they were saying that allegedly Tottenham are entered the race for Mateus Fernandes, who is a Manchester United target. And people were saying that it's a done deal because of Bruno Fernandes. But now apparently, like, the deal is like kind of. But again, no one knows exactly what's happening. But a lot of fans are speculating that basically Tottenham entered the race and they are coming with money and they're ready to pay now, so West Ham doesn't have to wait. And it's actually good for them because the longer they wait, the more less money they can get from these players because they will be forced to sell. Right now they're in this sweet spot where they can negotiate, they can ask for more money and stuff, but at a certain point it will be impossible for them. So yeah, and Manchester United are waiting, low-key. And while Manchester United are waiting, the rumors, the links to Tottenham and also Real Madrid, no one knows still what's the situation with Real Madrid midfield, and with Jose coming in as a new coach. No one knows if he needs Camavinga and Tchouaméni, if he's relying on them or not. Because I think Jose would want to keep Valverde rather than Tchouaméni, even though Tchouaméni probably, technically, I would say what he can offer, he's a better player in my opinion than Valverde. But Valverde, he actually like carried Real last season in Champions League against Manchester City, I think. And he's this type of player, like he's definitely playing like for the badge, like he cares about the club and like he's wearing like the armband. So I think this is a more of Jose type of player, like this type of fighter, like experienced also player and a fighter. Jose likes African players and of players of African descent. Well, Tchouaméni, obviously, he's a France international, but yeah, it's like Jose liked those type of players, but I don't know what happened. Maybe, but I don't know. I just have this feeling like he would, if the choice was between Valverde and Tchouaméni, I think Jose would go for Valverde for some reason. I don't know. I think he means more to Real Madrid, low-key, and also if there wasn't conflict indeed between these two players, I think they will be both uncomfortable to be in the same team next season. So you gotta kind of offload at one of those, and I think it will be rather Tchouaméni than Valverde. And if that happens, then Manchester United should use this opportunity to actually cash in and you know what, splash the cash, pay money for Tchouaméni because he will solve a lot of problems in Manchester United midfield. I don't know about his commitment and about his like desire to play for Manchester United. Because you kind of want that. You don't want to. I was talking about this already during my shows, which I kind of stopped a little bit right now because solely because of the views, I guess. Because I think I'll still continue like here and there. I'm gonna upload this type of like podcast/show, which it will be like 1 hour, 30 minutes and stuff. But in general, I'll try to make shorter videos. Because the views are better on shorter videos rather than on long ones. So I'm just going to double down on that. Right now, I just wanted to yap a little bit and watch the game. So I just started streaming. But yeah, short videos definitely will be coming. And this like podcast/shows, longer shows, I think I'll kind of like chill a little bit on that. But when I'll have a lot of topics that I want to cover, I'll just do it basically. But to be honest, streams and those like podcasts, live shows, they're like serve same purpose, because obviously I'm watching a game, but at the same time I can just talk about stuff. So yeah. Anyway, and Manchester United right now in this situation where they are kind of waiting, and I think they're doing the right thing, obviously, because no one wants to overpay and like continue this weird tradition of, kind of like overpaying just because we Manchester United. And in my opinion, it's the right position, but it's risky because we can miss out on some players. Definitely, Mateus Fernandes, for example, like something can change, and let's say he wanted to go to Manchester United and play with Bruno Fernandes together in this midfield, but let's say something changed and he got a better offer. Maybe Real wants him. Maybe Jose will call for him. Also Portuguese, obviously, a fellow Portuguese. I wanted to say footballer. No, just a football person, right? Manager. Just a fellow Portuguese. So let's say he goes there, right? So I already can predict if Mateus Fernandes transfer will not actually go through. A lot of fans will have a crash out session. I already know that, but I just feel like Ineos already showed us that, you know what, they're kind of like mean business, and most of their signings, percentage wise, more than 50% of the signings were actually good. So I think I will rather trust the process and just, wait and see who they are going to bring. And I'll judge them probably not even in August. In August, you could judge them just based on names of players. But let's say somewhere in November, maybe you can say, you know what, some of these players, they just like very bad. Or on the opposites, all of these players are amazing. So great signings, Ineos, good job. So we will have to wait and see. People were saying also, like, don't shop in Premier League, go outside, like go to Europe, go to other continents, locations, and buy from there. But honestly, if this strategy kind of proven to work, and like buying like players from Premier League and getting results, instant results, why not stick with the same strategy? Like the only issue here is that we have to wait a little longer because of other teams trying to pull our pants basically here, with these prices and with these demands and negotiations and stuff. So yeah, but I think they're doing the right thing. I mean, also I had the weird revisionist kind of like vibe today, and I was thinking about Ruben Amorim. I mean, obviously he already is a coach of Milan, and I was thinking about, you know what, he was trying to bring Bergwall from Tottenham. It's a midfielder, and I heard like today I read the news that AC Milan, they're going for Bergwall. But before that, I had a stream where I was trying to break down the case of this Milan appointment of Amorim, and I was trying to make sense of it. I haven't found a lot of substance there, but from what I understood, the situation is that they're just, willing to give him a second chance, sort of, and they feel like it will be a logical continuation of this like tactical kind of like, not preset, but like approach or like model that they picked that they were actually exercising with previous coach. 3 at the back, I mean, like that becomes 5 at the back when they're defending, and like the swing backs, so it's kind of like who are covering the whole like length of the pitch and all this stuff. So this is Amorim's style of football, and this is what they were sort of playing with Allegri, because with Allegri they also had 3 at the back. So in this case, I see kind of like the sense. I kind of can make sense of it, but I cannot when it comes to finances, because Amorim will ask for players. I mean, not even like he will ask for players. I mean, they better bring someone. They better actually give him some players. So, but where like Milan, they never were famous for splashing the cash and just like uh, breaking the bank on some players, and especially right now when after the change of ownership, we only heard about Milan like here and there. I mean, they stopped being like European dominant force, and I mean, also they became a little bit like a selling club, low key. You know what? Because they were going through tough times, and they're still low key continuing. Anyway, I was revisionist motif there was connected to what exactly? I was thinking that what, I was watching Overlap, and this people like Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Ian Wright, they were talking to Tom Brady. And Tom Brady was yapping about NFL and about all this like he was saying soccer. He was using the word soccer, and he was just like bigging up his sport and some other sports in his country. They started talking about some just random stuff, and then actually they were discussing his career and his trajectory, and they were kind of making parallels with football and like American football. And one thing that he said, that he's frustrated with English Premier League, and they were actually talking about Tottenham. Can you imagine? Tom Brady, maybe he's a fan of Tottenham or something. But anyway, he was saying that how the hell you're changing coaches so often? Like, what are you doing? So, like, when you're changing the coaches, he said something like, when you're changing them all the time, it's like it breaks, I mean, it nullifies the even potentiality, the availability of some kind of stability. I mean, you know what I mean, right? So you changing managers or coaches so often, like a new person comes in, they trying to like settle, and then they trying to like hit the ground running. And in big clubs they don't have time, in smaller clubs they have times, but impatient owners, board, they sacking those coaches left and right, and the players cannot just get the grasp of tactical maybe side of things, because different person will ask and for a different thing, obviously. So anyway, Tom Brady was talking about that, and he was saying, you know what, it's actually the best when you have a coach who's like doing the job for like long time. And he was obviously talking about Sir Alex Ferguson. And to be honest, like, I don't really jive with that kind of like idea. I don't really like follow that. I don't buy into this idea. I understand his sentiment, though. I think I understood what he meant by that. It's like when you have one coach, Norway on the attack, Holland with a goal. Also, I think scoreboard, right? I never stopped it, so yeah, we have to do something about it. Let's go 48, 47. Odegaard and Holland celebrating together like they're playing same team. Something like this. Holland with a goal. I mean, his usual strike has a lot of power on that strike, but Senegal, guys, what are you doing? You just started second half and you conceded a goal. What they're doing? They don't want to win? What are you doing, Senegal? You don't want to win? No way. Koulibaly also playing for Chelsea. We're gonna continue talking about coaches. Just let me check where. Let's check where Sander Berge plays. Who he plays for? Fulham. There you go. He was linked to Manchester United last summer. We never got him because I think we weren't targeting midfielders. That we tried for Baliba, but that's about it. Yeah, Senegal players just looking into nothingness. Like, how the hell we conceded another one? Anyway, so yeah, talking about these coaches, I think I understood his sentiment, because when you have like one person in charge of things like for a long time, right, you have time and luxury to actually learn every detail of your craft, of your business, of your job, right? And that's what he meant by that. Like, imagine like Ferguson, right, who was coaching Man United for like 20 years, 20 plus years, 26 or some years. Obviously, by the end of his tenure, he knew everything that there is to know about the club. Not only he knew, but he personally kind of knew it, and he had so much experience, and he basically just kind of felt it almost already, right? He didn't know it, he just felt it, like he understood it. Certain things he actually put in motion himself in the club, certain processes. So imagine the level of influence that he had, right? But the only like downside here, I think, not the only one, but the most obvious one, and the one that we are experiencing, the aftermath of this consequence we're still experiencing, right? If you have one person in charge for many, many years, the new person who's coming, right, they will have to change everything according to their tastes and like preferences. And it will take, I don't, who knows how much time will it take before they will succeed. But also, it leaves you like with nothing, because when Ferguson left, he gave us Moyes and told us like stick by your manager, which is like, I mean, it was not a lie. Like, that's what you kind of gotta do, right? You gotta trust the management. As a fan, as a good fan, as a good boy, you got to do that, right? Support, and eventually, like, they will give you a result. Senegal were attacking, but Nicholas Jackson, I think, was trying to do something there. Header by Nicholas Jackson, but didn't convert it. So anyway, so yeah, it leaves like everything like in disarray, and we're still experiencing this, weird in between sort of like, I don't know, Twilight Zone at Manchester United, where it's like we kind of cannot agree on the coach, we cannot agree on the manager. We're changing managers also, and I mean the previous one, and that's why the revisionism, right? So, and I was thinking about like this Amorim, like the thing that also, so the argument of Tom Brady, basically his point of view, it got me kind of like second guessing our decision with the sacking of Amorim and like appointing Carrick. But let me try to explain why I started thinking in that direction. I think the issue was that he mentioned all those things, right? Like, if you were a coach at the team for many years, you can just fine tune everything to your preference, and you can, like, understand each and every process inside the team and organization. And there is a higher chance for you to, oh, there's a goal for Senegal. There you go. That's a good game already. Come on, Senegal shouldn't be like, a 2-0 down. Dios mío. Senegal fans. Very gifted. So yeah, Senegal shouldn't be 2-0 down to Norway. I mean, I'm sorry, but there is not such a big gap in quality to be 2-0 down. Doesn't make any sense. Good goal, by the way. They will check the offside like in the very first pass that started the attack. But this type of goal that he scored, like, to be honest, if he didn't score that, they should have given the penalty, because I think there was a foul. The defender was pushing him in the back because he was already like ahead of the defender, so he was chasing him, and he was like, at the end he just pushed him in the back, and he kind of falling down. he hit the ball and actually scored. Two substitutions for Senegal. I would guess that they're attacking substitutions, maybe wingers, and they will try to go for an equalizer, as they should. So yeah, going back to this Tom Brady situation, and he was basically giving examples from NFL that in the team, in one of teams where he played, the coach was like, coach was there for a long time, and he was talking about all this stuff. So it's like, he was pushing the players and like pushing players to excellence, and he was making like every training session like hell, like difficult. But by the time they were playing their actual game, it was easy for them, and they were actually like started winning. And he was like doubling down this idea of like excellence, discipline, and all those things. Like, and I mean, this is like an old school kind of like concept of success, or sort of. And I cannot really say that I agree with it, purely because it's not the only way to success. There are many pathways to success, and it's like you don't have to like you know um drill certain things until you're exhausted, just so that on the day of the game you are like prepared and you know what to do. It's like you don't really have, you can still win a game, you can still win a championship without this kind of like without being so much locked in, sort of, because with some players, like especially nowadays with certain teams, like you kind of feel like the amount of games that players are going through, I'm talking about football, European football, the amount of games that the players are going through during the season, it's like sometimes it's like you don't need to train that much. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but like you overtrain and then you play a game, you're gonna pick up an injury or you're gonna be fatigued, because it's like training session, if your training session is as intense as a real game, you're gonna be fatigued. But anyway, so, and he was talking about all this stuff, and I was thinking, you know what, we sacked Amorim. So what does it mean? Like, what if Amorim in Milan, he will like succeed right now? He will just do all these right things, and he will bring players miraculously, right? Because obviously we all know that Milan are, they don't really have financial extensive financial resources to back this coach and his vision of transfer process, whatever, like the players that he wants to bring, probably. Even Bergwall, like he's not going to be like 20 million. He will not cost them 20 million. The game is mad dynamic, and Haaland with another goal. He scored a third one, and this one is like impressive. Actually, impressive goal, off the bar, actually, off the crossbar. But Senegal, they still got to score. Like, they got to go and score, because like, who says they cannot score 2 goals? They can. They just got to attack. Is that like the situation is just that Haaland is just obviously a good player, and he's dangerous in the box. It's undeniable, and he got his chances. He used them. So, what can you say? So yeah, and it got me thinking. You know what? Yeah, with Amorim, what if we gave Amorim like more years, more seasons, and like brought players that he wanted to bring? But then I remember, and like, what was the issue with Amorim? My issue with him, it was the press conferences. I didn't like his style of communicating. I didn't like his also, like, to be honest, his style of football. Even if that football eventually even if that football that he was trying to like apply to Manchester United, at some point it started, let's say, giving us results. It had started giving us results. I still would have been like not impressed with this style of football, to be honest, because it's a little bit like he relies on speed, on straightforwardness, on directness, and he relies on those athleticism, those components that personally, that's not why I watch football. So yeah, and yeah, it's like his style of play. At the end of the day, even if we were winning, let's say games, right? I would still probably be not enjoying it if I'm being honest. So yeah. Anyway, for a second, I had this weird, like, kind of like some flashback or something like this. I was thinking like, what if we're gonna just repeat the cycle of Ollie or something like this? You know what? And I don't want to think about this, to be honest, because um, let's just see what's gonna happen first of all. And I don't think that was a mistake. Second, Amarim, I think it was maybe a mistake giving him too much time. Maybe it was a mistake even appointing him like that, and it was a gamble. I would say it was a mistake. I think it was a gamble that turned out to be not very successful one. So yeah. So yeah, and and what's like the worst thing that can happen right now next season? Like, let's say something will happen and like Carrick, he will not get his players for some reason. Like, let's say they will not be able to give him the right amount of profiles and quality, and but at the same time they cannot do that because the club will be actually in Champions League, playing in three competitions: two domestic cups, Champions League, and Premier League. And he needs players, so they will have to give him players. Like, what type of players there will be, we're gonna see later. But it's impossible for the board and for not to bring players because it's just any type of coach. If he had been in the shoes of, if he was in the shoes of Carrick, he would ask for no side on the Senegal goal. So any type of coach would ask for reinforcements. It's just like common sense. So the players will arrive, I believe, and then we'll just see how we'll see full-time manager Carrick, not interim, but a full-time manager. We'll see what's the difference. I don't want to be negative. That's one thing I don't want to, and I don't want to be a revisionist. I think what's done is done. Time will tell, and Amarim will show us, what he's made of, and what's up with him as a coach. We'll see that, and we'll talk about it, and we'll cover it, obviously. So it will be interesting for sure. But like also something that he was talking about, I think Tom Brady, yeah, he was talking about that, and it got me thinking also about the cycle in Manchester United, about those previous coaches, about Ali again. I was thinking, and he was like Ali. He was also like cool with players, right? It's like he had good relationship with all players, had no conflicts. It was Vibes FC at that time, if I'm not mistaken. That's how it was labeled during that time. Everyone was just like vibing, like dancing, lingered with Rashi. Wait a second, was Lingard at the team at that time or no already? Maybe I'm tripping. But yeah, it was like Martial, Rashi, Pogba, Bruno, Lukaku, right? All those players that were there at that time. And I'm just thinking about PSG because it was Oli team who played PSG in Champions League and we won against PSG. So yeah, and I'm thinking about like what did we win, right? So we'll say we play good football, right? Relatively good, nice football, good on the eye football we played with Oli. But what did we win actually with it, right? Nothing. And it got me thinking a little bit about this in this direction, that like Carrick, he's also like good with players, right? And he kind of like, I mean, Tom Brady was talking about discipline, right? That's what I told you. And it's an old school approach. And if I'm being crystal clear, I understand that this is, again, not the only pathway to success. It's just his way and his vision. And so basically, he was saying that you got to be disciplined, you got to eat right, you cannot party, you got to like do all those things as a player, to achieve like. So Tom Brady, he was talking in some stuff that got me a little bit frustrated, because sometimes I don't really like to hear something like this from players. It's like, because it's like they basically, what is the sentiment of Tom Brady is that like you gotta find a way to minimize your emotional kind of like your negative emotions as a player, so it doesn't really affect your game that much. So he was basically talking about like player maxing, like maximizing like the positive outcomes, and like studying yourself, your nutrition, your sleep patterns, your training, your muscles, everything, in order to understand like how to win, how to succeed. And I think that for some people, for some players, and for some people, it's the way to go, you know. But definitely, other people, they're built different. You know what? They are just, maybe they're gifted, like naturally, or maybe they don't need to overtrain themselves. Maybe they can actually eat like, I don't know, burrito, and then give you like a game of a lifetime or something like this. I don't know if that really is correlated that much, but when people, let's say, they prove that they are winners and they can back it, right? And they present you with these ideas with their own vision of how they achieved something. It's so easy to buy into that, just because you have like certified winner in front of you talking all this stuff about sleeping patterns, about like eating the right thing, like doing all this stuff, and you kind of thinking like this is the way, this is the only way basically to do that. Because this person, obviously they will talk with so much conviction and confidence that if you are, let's say, undecided, or if you are not sure about what's working for you, right, you will be like, you know what, yeah, this is definitely what it is. But yeah, so it got me like thinking a little bit. I got this like paranoid moment, like where I thought like, you know what, are we repeating the cycle at Manchester United again? So it's like Carrick is cool with players, he's kind of like cool with Kobe Mainu, and Kobe is like, he's not like a party guy, but he's definitely kind of interested in this aspect of life, like celebrating birthdays, like flying and attending NBA games, like, and doing all this stuff. Maybe not necessarily just partying, like drinking or like doing some kind of drugs or some going crazy or something like this. But you know what I'm trying to, like, being like a little bit flashy and like trying to build a little bit of a brand, personal brand for himself, while he's representing Manchester United. And it got me thinking a little bit like, you know what, are we getting like a potential like issue on our hands? And yeah, bad thoughts were started, like, I don't know, crowding my mind. And yeah, and I was thinking like, so what if he's gonna like, let's say, be too cool with players? I mean, Carrick, what if he was gonna be too cool with players and we're not gonna achieve anything? Like, it will be just good football basically, but there will be no like tangible results. But then also I understand that obviously there are different people. Like, I mean, Ali and Carrick, they're different managers, different personalities, different characters, different people. And something that Carrick showed already as an interim, it is believable, actually. It's foreseeable that we will win some silverware actually with this coach. But for some reason, I started second guessing, and I was like, started doubting this whole like new project. And I shouldn't, to be honest. I shouldn't have done it. But naturally, like this, this podcast, it got me thinking about all those things. But yeah, I think like talking about what is the pathway to success as an organization, as a football club, right? Let's say maybe I don't think it's super healthy to have like a one same coach for like 26 years or something like this, because it just leaves so much, like especially if everything depends on that coach, like if he's like the main guy in a club, in an organization. So imagine when he leaves and he appoints someone else, and this person is like completely like a newbie. They got to learn on the job. It's like, what are you doing? First of all, appointing that guy, right? And second of all, it's just not healthy to have one person who's ruling the organization for many years, because after they leave, it will be such a deep in everything, and no one knows actually, how much time will it take to get back on track. But when you have like change of coaches, let's say, right, but you have a good organization in terms of executives board and all those owners, if you have a clear structure that is working regardless of a manager, in this case, like, why not just kind of change them if it's working, obviously, right? If everyone is happy, and there is no this kind of fear of this person becoming like too influential and just eventually leaving and making a mess, leaving things in a mess, in a messy situation. Because when obviously when Ferguson left, he left also a squad, but this squad, like, it was, I don't know how to explain it. There were like hardcore winners, of course, but this squad, it was already drilled, it was fine-tuned to Ferguson. So it's like Ferguson almost was the only, it as if Ferguson was the only person who was able to get the maximum out of this squad, out of these players. Because on paper, those players, they didn't look like super duper impressive. It's like that squad that, let's say, played Arsenal. It's like that squad that played Arsenal in Champions League. Look at that midfield. I mean, not this one. If you look up that squad, Manchester United, where Ronaldo scored that free kick against Arsenal. If you look at that squad, it's not impressive at all. Like on paper, it looks not good at all. But Ferguson was able to maximize his resources to the point where it was already like only he knew how to motivate and how to get the best out of those players. So he didn't leave like the squad. I mean, they won the championship, not the championship, obviously Premiership. Let's call it Premiership. They won it, and he left, right? But next season we couldn't continue in the winning, a manner, fashion, whatever. It was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. So yeah. So ideally, you have just a very clear, good working structure at the club, and then you can change coaches without like being afraid that something will not work, or etc., etc. So you just have this organization, football structure, and you recruiting talent, i.e., players, according to this idea of what your club is, right? It's like not according to the idea that manager brings. Manager can bring tactics, right? He can bring approaches, different ways to communicate with players, to work with them. But essentially, the players that he's, inheriting, he just kind of like has to find a way to work with them. But should manager be picking those players? You know, it's not super clear. In the long run, maybe when the manager proven himself and when he deserves already to be backed. But at first, you gotta like show that you can utilize what you have, not maybe maximize to the point where you just like, you know what, because it's impossible, right? Let's say you're new to organization, you just like met the players. Of course, you won't be able to bring the absolute best out of them, but you can optimize it at least, right? So yeah, I mean, all those things that he was talking about, they got me thinking about, what are we doing at Manchester United? Is it the right way of approaching those things? But then again, there is no right way. Even like the Ferguson, I mean, just because like Tom Brady like mentioned Ferguson, etc. I mean, they different people, right? It's like, and they're also pathways to success. They're different. There is no universal way to success. Like maybe the only way is just not to like stop low key, like just keep going, like and keep building what you're building. But how you do this, there are many ways. Like there are many ways to find sort of common understanding with talent, and it doesn't have to be just only this way. It's like kind of going through crazy drills, etc., because you have different players also. Some players, you don't have to coach them, you don't have to drill them. You like they already know what to do. You just got to give them, like, you got to trust them low key. That's it. And those are unique players, obviously, because they have a sense of responsibility, but at the same time they're gifted, extremely gifted. And sometimes you don't have to push them, like you just don't need to push that. So yeah. But some things that Tom Brady was talking about, I kind of agreed with. Like he was talking about still watching the game, by the way, but nothing is going on. They just kind of like moving the ball. Senegal had another substitution, and their keeper was subbed. Sorry, their keeper was subbed off also because of the injury, due to injury, and they have a different keeper now. But the scoreline is the same, 3-1 to Norway. I mean, good job, Norway, but I'm a little bit frustrated with Senegal. I was expecting that they not gonna be, 2 goals behind. Yeah, so another thing that Tom Brady was talking about was the training. And he was saying that like when he just started his career, he was trying to gain muscle, and when he did that, he was a quarterback, which is like it's like the position in American football that is basically the player is supposed to distribute the ball, from what I understand. Actually, not just like pass it, but actually distribute it, meaning like he can do a long pass. He can make a long pass and he can, win you a point basically. Because if quarterback finds, so you got to scan the pitch and you got to be good with your hands, like in terms of passing ability. Because basically, quarterback can pass you the ball to a player who can just grab it already, like in a touchdown, to make a touchdown already. So he can be in that zone already. So it's an important position, and yeah. So yeah, what you need to do if you were in that position, you have to have good eyes, like patience, I guess, right? And also good hands, because you got to curl the ball, you got to distribute, you got to, you know, it's not, I don't want to say it assist, but basically, yeah, you have to like uh, find players on the pitch and then pass the ball, basically in their hands. And he was saying that he was struggling with this because his arms were like not that strong, and he thought that he has to increase his strength by building muscle. And he was going to the gym, right? And he was doing this different exercises for biceps and hands in general, arms and hands. And at the end, he was able to build some muscle, but he started having issues with inflammations and tension in his muscle. And basically, he explained this whole like thing, which is, it's not a secret. Like if you go to a gym, like people will probably, knowledgeable coaches, they will tell you about this also. Maybe they will not like kind of like tell you about it like literally when they meet you, but eventually it makes sense because basically, and I think you noticed it also, some of you who are working out. So once you're starting building muscle, like your body becomes more like solid and you feel more like pumped. But at the same time, like not the sensibility, but I don't know how to say it, like your impulses and movements, they become more stiff because you're getting bigger and buffer. Like you become less flexible and agile. And that's what he was talking about. Like in order to for him to distribute the ball, he definitely had to have agility and flexibility in his muscle because he had to curl the ball, he had to extend the arm also, right? Doing all those things. And he said that after he started working out and doing this crazy gym stuff for his arms and hands, he started get inflamed because his elbow and his shoulder, they started to get inflamed, and he was playing on anti-inflammatory drugs, which is crazy that he said it openly. Because and for many years he played like this because he couldn't understand like how to get rid of this issue. And for me, it was so frustrating because every time I hear that a player just plays through the pain, or maybe they're using some kind of medication or pharmaceuticals, for me, it's kind of crazy because it's like, you shouldn't do that. Like, because I don't think it's good for you when you systematically are forced to play on pharmaceuticals in order not to feel pain. It's kind of crazy. You're just masking it, but you're not getting rid of it. You're not fixing the issue. And then eventually, he said it, like the drugs, like for pharmaceuticals, they stopped working and he felt this pain. And that's when he found like a different medical guy, like doctor, like a personal coach or something like this. And also some crazy that he was talking about is that like the club doctor, the team doctor, he suggested him to do some kind of surgery to remove something from his knee or something because he had ACL injury. And he double checked it later. He was like, he didn't give green light to this team doctor, and then instead he gave a call to his this kind of personal medic guy. Oh my goodness, how Senegal didn't score that? It's like it was an offside. Anyway, and he called that medical, his personal guy who helped him with the elbow and the shoulder and all this stuff. And he told him like, don't do this. So basically, can you imagine like a player goes to a team doctor, and asks a team doctor like, what shall we do with this issue? And the team doctor offers you the surgical solution, and then basically it turns out to be not the best solution. It's actually a harmful solution. Can you imagine it? Like, I would become so paranoid. It's like, who can you trust there? It's like, this is my own team, this is the doctor from my own team. Like, why they don't suggest something good? But anyway, that's crazy. But essentially what he said is like that he didn't need to build so much muscle, and then he basically he was able just to train in a different way and not focusing on doing these crazy workouts in order to build muscle. And it made sense actually, but I don't know why you cannot apply the same logic to the overall kind of success, achieving success. You can do that also, like it's like, so it's like there are different ways to get to the same result, essentially. Yeah. So Yeah. Well, interesting. Maybe interview for those of you who are following like sports, or maybe different sports, and also who can maybe identify the changes that are happening to European football. It was interesting to hear that from that perspective. And also the guys who are doing the podcast, we have obviously three Englishmen and one American guy. And it was interesting to see what is the dynamic there, how they communicate, etc. Do they really kind of get each other? Like, or, all those things. So it was interesting. It was good. Also like this podcast because they actually not only just talking strictly about football, they also just like yap, and that's how I also view what I'm doing. I don't want to be like this kind of football journalist who's just only reporting on like what happened on the pitch and like all this stuff. I want to yap also. I want to talk about my own stuff. I want to talk about different topics, but at the same time it all is comes back to kind of football, or starts with football, or eventually ends with football, or something like this. So it is around football, but it's like football is a part of life, right? So you talk about life and then you also talk about football and stuff. So that's how I see it. So from this perspective, I really liked that podcast because it was more like an interactive kind of like interview. But at the same time, of course, they were talking about also football and other stuff. Because it's interesting to kind of like draw parallels between sports, between different sports, and like for example, like you have a player who actually who achieved like success in this his own sport, right? And he's talking to players who achieved success also in other sport, and how similar is that experience? It's like what are the similarities? What are this? Maybe they use the same kind of approaches, but obviously no, because these players they played in different eras. Tom Brady, obviously, he's a younger guy than those who interviewed him, and yeah. So I believe Ian Wright actually and Roy Keane and Gary Neville they played at this in the same era, like it was like early '90s, late '80s, early '90s, 2000s. That's the time that they covered. And Ian Wright, I don't remember him playing in 2000s to be honest. I think he was a player from '80s, '90s, if I'm not mistaken. Why I'm saying if I'm not mistaken because I follow Premier League, but I have no idea what happened like before a certain time in Premier League, and especially if it's an Arsenal situation. Okay, going back to Norway, Senegal, we have 88th minute, and after that chance that actually was stopped by the flag of a linesman because it was an offside. Senegal are not able to do anything. So Norway are with the ball, and it looks like, yeah, Haaland trying to score another one. Also hat trick for him. But this game is so much more dynamic, actually. Maybe because the levels, technical levels of both teams, they're pretty good. So that's why it's more lively. But yeah. Haaland tried to go for the third one, but was denied, blocked by the defender. But also, I think it's also going back to that interview, to that podcast. There is a bigger question for sure. Like, is it really like that deep in terms of this changes in European football, in English football? Like, will we actually see like you know what Arsenal done, for example? Will we see that from more teams, like heavy, like not mechanization, but how to say it? So Pep era, it was like passing, right? It was tactics, it was tactical, like insanity in terms of, it was just tactics, 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 almost zero self-expression. Senegal are defending. They almost conceded the fourth goal. Oscar Bob was subbed in and he had a strike. He had a shot on target and it was blocked by a defender. And it looked like it was a handball, but no. He blocked it with his head. Well, it was crazy. Maybe the Senegal, they're trying to, score. That's why they leave like certain zones and areas open, and that's why Norway are able to go through and attack, but it's not an excuse, to be honest. So yeah, not the mechanization, but like set pieces, right? And stoppages, set pieces, and kind of like lack of self-expression and fluidity in modern kind of football, which is, I don't want to be like too certain about that, because obviously, even if this era is coming and it's indeed like near and approaching us, there will be still different schools of football. There will be still different coaches with different teams who will play just like it always was. There was maybe a dominant style of play, but at the same time, other styles were existing, and exciting football with self-expression and fluidity, it was also still there. But of course, no one wants to see, sorry, it's late or early. We have 8 more minutes in this game, and I'm gonna be signing off after this game is over. So let me finish this point. So this fear of mechanization of football, and like, especially with technology, with numbers, with all this data coming in, maybe it becomes more like, kind of like, it loses some element of self-expression, fluidity, and beauty. Just pure, this kind of like football beauty, like when you watch Messi play, right? It's like, it's not mechanical what he does. Like, it's just like, he's amazing at football. He's so skilled, and it's just a joy to watch him just be with the ball, not even like score goals, just like work with the ball. It's just so good watching it. Like, it kind of like inspires you, low key, a little bit. I don't know how to explain it. It's like when you watch like, last season I was watching Barcelona, and some games like where Pedri was working with the ball also, where he was dribbling. It's just so, it looks so good. Like, you look at it and you have a static kind of like, oh, Senegal scored another one. I'm a little bit late, but they scored, I guess. But they don't have time almost. They don't have no time almost to score the third one. They have like 9 minus 2. It's like 7 minutes to score another one and draw. But it's good that they don't give up, like, because I mean, again, I'm gonna just say it again. The gap in quality is not significant between these two teams. And it's even a question who's better actually, a Senegal or Norway. So anyway, back to my point. Yeah, so when you watch those players work with the ball and play, it gives you a statical kind of like joy, sort of. It's pleasant, right? You enjoy it, but at the same time, it kind of inspires you, sort of. I don't know how to explain it. You just you look at it, and it gives you this excitement, joy, but also sort of inspiration. I don't know how to explain it. When you watch someone do something very good, but when it's just mechanical, logical, and analytical, and based on data and research and drills, and that's how you get your wins, get your W's. It's respect. It's commendable. It still has, you gotta like, um, respect that and acknowledge it. obviously. But at the same time, it doesn't really give you any joy, like true pure joy and emotion and aesthetical, like, these feelings, good, nice feelings. It doesn't really give you that. Like, I understand obviously the fans who are celebrating, of course, I mean, they're gonna celebrate their club won like first time for many years, but in many years. But if you are being more like kind of, I don't want to say objective, but if you just look at it from a football perspective, like and a human perspective, and you know, aesthetic excitement perspective, it's not exciting. It's just not. It's a W, right? It's like deserved, right? Because of course they put in work, time, and to to take this like style of play to perfection. But at the same time, it doesn't give you joy or it doesn't give you excitement like when you watch it. You just like understand that yeah, they won this game because they scored from a set piece or something like this. Maybe you can also like be excited or about the way that they scored it, like the pass, the cross, the header or something like this. But at the end of the day, it's not the same when you have players who are like just gliding with the ball, passing, also doing all these beautiful things, and it just kind of comes natural. And then especially when you have those crazy players with character, and not character but with their own flair and like something that they bring to the game, like some Brazilian players, they used to do that. Like nowadays maybe you have sort of similar things, but it's not the same. Like, so yeah. And that's at the end of the day, that's why we watch these games, to be honest. That's what we want to see as fans, I think. Yeah, it's like it is about W's, it is about those things. It is about drilling things on a training ground, but at the same time it's just about the beauty of football and excitement, and like it's about individuals expressing themselves. It's about human beings expressing themselves through this thing that is called football. And because we are able to watch it, it also gives us this, excitement and joy. So I'm not sure where I'm going. It looks like he didn't even touch that guy like in the air. But Norway, they gonna like, yeah, they gonna start doing some crazy stuff just to kill time. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, officially it's 2 minutes left, but maybe they will add 1 more minute because of this injury, kind of like fake injury. Yeah. So unfortunately, Senegal, I think they're gonna lose this game. Maybe there will be a miracle and they will score in the last minutes of this game, but I don't know why they started so late. What exactly was so difficult in Norway's, defensive pattern that they weren't able to crack it like earlier? Because they're attacking with intent right now, Senegal, and they're still like kind of fast and sharp. But this urgency, it was lacking, let's say, in the middle of second half or in the whole first half, to be honest with you. And for me, it's unclear what's the reason behind it. By the way, isn't Jaya playing or no? No, Iliman and Jaya is not used substitution. That's crazy to me. Maybe he's injured, but it does make sense why he's not on the pitch, because he's a great winger. Maybe because you have like on the left Oh, maybe that was the last chance, right, for Senegal. Maybe because on the left you have Mane, and then you have Sar, who actually scored 2 goals already, and then in the middle you have Jackson. So it's like where Njai exactly fits. You got to sub some of these one of these three players. You got to sub to bring in Njai, or you got to sub off the midfielder to bring in another attacker. But it's like already you know missing something in the midfield, so it's gonna be off balance. Okay, I expect the ref to blow a whistle right now, and that will be it. Unfortunately for this game, unfortunately from perspective of Senegal, obviously they're still playing. Come on, throw in 10 seconds. No, I don't think. Yeah, that's it. Norway won. I mean, fair play to Norway, but Senegal, it's their own fault. Honestly, it's not because Norway they were unbeatable or something. But the Senegal team, they just like lacked urgency. In some parts of the game, they just lacked urgency. Norway out of the group, they made it, I think. They're going to playoffs, so that's why the celebration. Their coach ran to the stand to kiss his wife, I guess, and or girlfriend. It's sweet for sure. So what's up with Senegal? They're out of competition. That's crazy, but that's it. 0 points picked up. Probably lost to France, right? And now they lost to Norway. Frustrating, to be honest. I mean, with France, okay. I mean, understandable if you lost to France as Senegal, but like to lose against Norway, it's like I don't know because it was close. It was close for sure. Oh well, oh well, oh well. Okay, let me close this. Oops. I forgot to update the scoreboard, obviously. That's crazy, but I was just too busy talking about stuff. So yeah, it's fine. I'll 3-2. But come on, I was streaming this all the time, so you saw the score. So it's like, regardless of the scoreboard, it was not really useful, but yeah, you were able to see it. So what do we have now? Today, later today, England's supposed to play and Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, these two teams. And I want to watch those games. In 1 hour, there will be Jordan, Algeria. I love North Africa and Jordan, but I'm not going to be watching it. But Portugal, Uzbekistan, and England, Ghana, I want to watch these games. So I'll be signing off right now. Congratulations to Norway. They're celebrating. Good job. They want to do the rowing something, this Viking rowing. Okay, whatever. I don't know who they're going to play in the playoffs. Norway. I don't think they're going to win the competition. Let me be honest with you. But you got to live in the moment, right? And that's why you got to celebrate when you're winning. And that's exactly what they're doing right there. So good job, Norway. All people who just supported Norway, who are rooting, cheering for this team to win this game. Congrats to you also. I'm going to be cheering this World Cup only for Brazil, I think. But I'm going to be cheering for individuals for sure. And you already know who that individuals are. They're Manchester United players. So tomorrow there will be Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot time to win a first game at this World Cup. And later, Kobe Mainu, obviously, and Rashford. They will be in England squad and they will be playing Ghana. and we'll see. Probably after that game, England will make their exit. Not exit, but they will guarantee the playoff spot. That's what I meant. Can you imagine Ghana beating England? But still, like England won one game, so they just need two games to win two games, or to win and to draw, and that's enough. Okay, so Norway, they want to do this with fans together. Like they want to roll. They're so excited. Everyone is doing it. They're so excited. Wow. I'm just looking at this speechless. You see, I'm less open mouth, like, what? Okay, so we're gonna continue later today, and we're gonna watch this Portugal, and we're gonna watch this England. They better deliver, both teams. It's not like I'm cheering, rooting for them, but you know what? I want to see something. I want to see some good football from Portugal and England, from these teams. Because you know what? You cannot be a favorite for a tournament and just don't deliver. You got to show us something. England, you can say the first game they actually showed something. And guess Croatia was 4-2 victory with a lot of goals and some quality. But Portugal, guys, what are you doing exactly? Get a hold of yourselves. Show us something. Okay, so the stream of the game ended with Haaland making this smug face at the camera. And that's it for today. Let's see if I'm going to stream Portugal, Uzbekistan, England, Ghana, but it's quite possible that I'm going to do that. And after that, it will be quiet actually. It will be quiet. Colombia, they have a good team. They're going to play a Congo. And then you have Switzerland, Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, Morocco, Haiti, and then you have Scotland, Brazil. Wow. What a pair. What a. It's a crazy combo. Scotland and Brazil. Definitely worth a watch. And then you have South Africa, South Korea, Czech Republic, Mexico, Ecuador, Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Tunisia, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Paraguay, Australia, Turkey, USA. Oh, I want to watch Turkey, USA, regardless. And then Norway, France. It's going to be interesting to see them also. Yeah, and that basically will finish this stage of World Cup, and then we will have bigger games, I'm sure. After that, we're gonna have very interesting games. We're gonna have Colombia, Portugal already. It's gonna be good. And then, like 28th of June, the playoff stage starts. Knockout stage starts. It's interesting. Time flies. We're almost out of days in June, but and the World Cup is also like closing to the next stage. Okay, my job right now not to fall into this loophole of internet and just, finish the stream and go to sleep. So yeah, all good. Let me get some rest. And I'll see what type of video or stream I can make tomorrow. And yep, maybe I'm gonna. What's the topic for a video? What's a good topic for a video? Like I just talked about this like Tom Brady stuff and this overlap, but it's not really Manchester United. It's not really about Manchester United. It's just about this. So I'm thinking about the stadium. Maybe a short video about this. I don't know. What are the good other good topics? What are the other good topics? Just the stadium transfers. This materials for launch. I don't want to cover transfers because it's like it's at this point it's unclear what's happening. The only clear thing is that West Ham are playing games and they're trying to like sell their assets for the best, biggest price. All right, fair play. Okay, cool. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. To anyone who's going to be watching it later, or maybe someone was watching it live, and I'll see you later. Take care.